Hi, today we are going to be exploring this concept called karma. I have mentioned karma quite a few times in my videos, but I haven't really covered it fully. So I just want to kind of give a bit of an outline as to what karma is, how it works, my experience of karma, and whether maybe you can relate to that in your own life and whether you can see it happening in your own life. So I've got my guys here as always that are going to help me with this. Now, when I first discovered this thing called karma in my life, it really was a strange start because I believed in the beginning that when I was going through all these karmic patterns in my life, that I was being punished for something. It felt like a punishment, or I believed that it was a punishment. It was because of something I did wrong in another life, and therefore I've come back here to delete that by getting punished for it. Now, what I then realized afterwards was that actually that's not how it works. It's not about, and I'm being given the same information. It is not 100%. It is an absolute, like I cannot say, I can't highlight it enough. I'm being told by my guide that it's got nothing to do with punishment, not at all. And that anyone that thinks like that, we have to take that out of our mind, because that is your mind ticking away and making up stories, okay? It is not because you're being punished whatsoever. It is because when you've come here, you wanted to experience certain things in order to clear these lessons or karmic debts, let's say, from another life. That's what's going on. So in your soul, you decided you want to go through certain life lessons, and in those life lessons, you are therefore deleting that from your old patterns that you've come here with. That's basically how it works. So karma is, in a sense, it's like lessons that you have wanted to learn from past lives that maybe you couldn't quite finish, you couldn't quite complete, you couldn't quite change in the way you wanted to, or maybe you didn't want to at the time. But in this life, if you're here in this life right now, as we all are, you're gonna want to delete that, right? You're gonna want to delete those patterns. That's what's happening to everyone. We are all deleting our old patterns, which means we are all, I'm being given the word, performing some kind of karma. We're all experiencing some kind of karmic debt in order to delete that, in order to delete our old patterns. So for example, what that might look like, let's think of an example. You might have wanted on a soul level here to find your empowerment, your strength as a woman, I guess, like me, let's say. And you therefore, because of that, you wanted to experience certain parts of your life in a way, right, where you can find that empowerment for yourself. So what that means is that in other lifetimes, you may not have been able to complete that process of empowerment, or you would have, and they said you would have definitely had the codes, you would have had the capability, you would have had the codes to be able to delete it. But in many past lives, or in at least some of them, like me, maybe you weren't able to complete that pattern of empowerment from maybe a disempowered situation that you were in many times in past lives, right? So what that means is, because of that, you've come here to complete that pattern, to delete it. And in that, what that means is you are completing some kind of karma that maybe it was between you, someone else, it may be in a relationship, maybe with a situation, but that through your ancestry line or through your past lives that you just have to delete, right? So the karma can work like that. But what I'm asking is that, because I know with one of my patterns is, I know if anyone relates, is that if you have, because it's going back to the punishment, if you have come here, from a past life, you've done something that maybe wasn't in the best interest of humanity, right, in a past life potentially, then you have come here to also clear that karma. And they're saying 100%. That's also the case, but it works both ways. So what I'm being told is that karma isn't just the fact that you've done something wrong, even though, there's no such thing as wrong, but it's just something that's happened, right? It's not just the fact that things that you've done in the past life that maybe wasn't in the best interest of people, of humanity, right? That yes, that's a karma that you're clearing. So that means you, like me, I have to be in certain positions, certain places around the world in order to clear that karma. That's one of the ways. And certain relationships as well, that's clearing karma because of this old life, this lifetime that I lived because of that, right? But it's not just that, because it could also be, like we were saying, that it's about just your empowerment and you wanted to come here to learn this lesson that you couldn't quite complete in another lifetime. And that's some kind of karmic debt that you come here with so you can do it for yourself, but also because if you're doing it for yourself, then you're doing it for other people, because individually, when we do our work, on a soul level, on a solo level, we are also doing that work for the collective, right? It's both. So if we do our work within us individually, it also means we're doing our work for the collective, for everyone else as well, right? So that's, yeah. So karma is both, right? So karma is, yes, it's whatever. Karma is anything. It's what you want. On a soul level, you've come here with to learn, specific lessons to learn in order to delete this karmic debt, this something you couldn't do, something you couldn't put right, something that wasn't completed even for yourself or for anyone else. And that is what you have decided to come here with in order to delete, which means in this life, you're going to experience things in a certain way that your soul, and maybe in contract with someone else's soul, has decided in order to delete that. So it could be they're saying it's very much certain repeated patterns that you have wanted, and something not always exactly the same, but certain repeated patterns that you've wanted, and therefore you're going to repeat that in some way in order to clear the karma. And that is all karma is. So we need to really come out of the mind way of thinking and really understand within our heart and soul, what are we actually doing? What are we actually learning? And it's about the learning, which is why we're here, of course, the learning that's helping us awaken to ourselves and rise our consciousness in order to do the work. That's why we're here. So the karma, the lessons that we're learning, is really for us to do the internal work in order to do the work for humanity as well.